We are live, but we shall soak in that O2 and let it breathe, baby. That's right. But as we await the two green, we're good. Welcome in, everybody. It is the Mile High Huddle podcast. I'm your host, Chad Jensen. With me is my fellow football priest. You know him, you love him. He is Zack Kelberman. Zack, I titled this episode basically everything Broncos fans need to know about the first 2 days of training camp. And we'll get to all that stuff. But the same question I asked you earlier today on the Mile High Huddle show on 98.1 FM in Denver, what has been your tippity top number one biggest takeaway of camp so far?
Well, this would be the first time that we're addressing training camp on our podcast. We've been off since Monday, so welcome back, guys. It feels like it's been a year, and Broncos training camp is officially in full swing. What I've learned through 2 days, Chad, is the defense is either right there with the offense, if not a little better. And you made a good point on the radio show and said usually at this time of the year, the defense is a little ahead of the offense, but the backfield, the defensive backfield is making play after play after play. Justin Simmons looks like an all-pro this year. You've had Patrick Surtain recording a PBU on Sutton to end the practice today. You had the undrafted rookie cornerback who I've been touting since they signed him. Jaquan McMillian had a few pass breakups. He was in there as well. Evero, being a former secondary guy, you see that translate right away. I love the way the defense is attacking the offense. You know, Russell Wilson, Chad, talking about the offense is the low-hanging fruit. Everyone kind of expected that to look good. That's drawing all the attention, all the headlines. But to me, taking the contrarian approach, the defense has been balling through 2 days.
Yeah, that's been encouraging because you didn't know exactly what to expect defensively from a first-time coordinator and Ejiro Evero, and some of the personnel losses the Broncos have had, including Von Miller and some of the new arrivals and all that stuff. So it has been encouraging. Broncos fans who didn't see, they maybe expected to see Russell Wilson show up and just march up and down the field and just make everybody look dumb. It doesn't work that way, especially when everything is new. You got to remember when Peyton Manning showed up 10 years ago, he was new, but the Broncos had a lot of momentum from the Tim Tebow season, a lot of young talent and coaching continuity from the year prior. Real quick, Sam Bam jumping in early with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. He says, greetings, Chad and Zack. So nice seeing Russ and a new coaching staff out there on the field for training camp. What are your observations 2 days into camp? So glad the topic isn't which QB won the day. Go Broncos. Yeah. I'll tell you just there's a few things, generally speaking, I want to get to tonight that I think every Broncos fan, everyone's got a life. Most people, you've got a job, you get home from work, you've got your family, you've got your kids, you got your yard, you got things going on. You can't afford necessarily all day long to be plugged into this podcast, that radio show, this blog, whatever. So we want to give you all the main key takeaways. And Zack, for me, first things first, there is all the juice we heard about in the offseason and the energetic lift and the spiritual resurrection and all this hype that we had heard in the offseason. Turns out it's real. And I'm not just talking about music returning to the proceedings at Broncos camp. Like, that's definitely giving them some energy. But, people are moving. There's some pep to their step. Graham Glasgow said, yeah, everybody's moving with a little bit more alacrity, some pep to their step. And I think that has implications that we could probably talk about alone just for an hour.
When you have a coach that's like breakdancing in the backfield and taking handoffs from Russell Wilson, I mean, that's the environment that you set. And we made this point on the radio show, I think it was yesterday, but so often the last couple years, the Broncos took on the complexion of their head coach. And if you take on the complexion of Vic Fangio, you're a corpse. And the Broncos played like a corpse more often than not under Fangio. That's not the case with Hackett. Say what you want about him. He's unproven. He has to, show that he's worthy of being an NFL head coach and worthy of the hype that we're bestowing on him. But from a personality point of view, the energy that he's brought back to the building, which George Payton even talked about, it's undeniable.
Guys, real quick, as Dylan is saying here at the top of the show, make sure you hit the like button on the way in and subscribe. He's speaking specifically to the YouTube folk. If you haven't already, guys, you know what? We say that and you hear that on podcasts that you listen to. Hey, like and subscribe. But listen, we really need you to do that. If you're in the room, and you're participating in this conversation, or even if you're just listening, at least like the video. It's a small thing you guys can do to help us out in a big, bad way. And if you are one of the 32% of people who enjoy these live stream podcasts each and every night, but you aren't subscribed, remedy that. Subscribe, click the bell button. That way you're notified every time we go live and upload a new video. And there's been a lot of content last couple of days. That's for sure. Zach, there's one player that has been unblockable, according to Coach Nathaniel Hackett. We're going to talk about who that is, but first we got to say hi to Frankie, one of the OGs. It's good to see you, buddy. Where have you been? We've missed you. Love you. He says, what's up, guys? Hardly ever get to catch a live anymore. Keep up the great work and go Broncos. Thanks, Frankie. It's really good to see you, big dog. Appreciate that, bud.
For a second, I thought we were going to break, Chad.
I know, right? But, that was serendipitous, Scott. It was just worked out that way. But Bradley Chubb, unblockable. What say you, Zach?
He's been, it's not just lip service because it's training camp now. I remember him knifing into the backfield during OTAs and minicamp, and Hackett was actually like right there looking on saying, whoa, let's not hit the quarterback for real. Let's slow down. But I can't remember the phrase that George Paton used about Bradley Chubb. It's like attacking a force of nature, I think he said about Bradley Chubb. And it's not
from yesterday.
Yeah. Or from Peyton's
it.
presser. I think he said a force of nature or something like that. But it just goes to show, if you get that sort of praise from someone as tight-lipped and honest and genuine as George Paton, it's for real. It doesn't mean much in the grand scheme. It's training camp. All things are rosy now. Unicorns are dancing around. If Bradley Chubb stays healthy, though, and keeps this momentum going into the regular season, I'm going to quote George Paton again. We're going to get the injury, the 2018 version of Bradley Chubb when he had 12 sacks. And that would be pretty great for this Denver defense.
Oh, man. It'd be like manna from heaven. A few shout outs to give as we get things started here. Greg Smith, what is going on, big dog? Great to see you on Facebook. Big Ern. We've got Big Ern in the house, too. What's going on, Ern? How have you been, my dog? Howie frickin' Day, throwing down early, some stars, Zach. He's saying, how is the O-line holding up? And should the Broncos be worried about depth there? The team seems focused this year, Zach. Not to worry. Broncos fans, if you were up at night, chewing your fingernails, worrying and wondering about offensive tackle in the wake of Billy Turner and Tom Compton opening the camp proceedings on the PUP list, let not your heart be troubled, because Cameron Fleming is here to save the day.
Oh, joy. Cameron Fleming's here, Chad, and the likes of Calvin Anderson and Sebastian Gutierrez and Ben Braden. I'm going to say once more, there aren't many black marks on George Paton's GMing resume through 2 years, but not finding a better right tackle than Billy Turner or Bobby Massey last year is definitely one of them. You bring in a quarterback like Russell Wilson, you surrender all that draft capital, 3 players, you're going to pay him $50 million a year maybe, but you're going to have a big gaping, flaming hole at right tackle. I can't get on board with it. I hate to say it, and it's sad to say. I don't hate to say it, but it's sad to say. Get healthy soon, Billy Turner. We need you.
Much more to discuss. We're going to ask a few questions to Luke Patterson, who's been at training camp reporting for us here in just a moment's time. But first, we got to say thank you to the presenting sponsor of tonight's podcast, and that is Manscaped, because taking control of your male grooming is important. And if you are experiencing an overgrown yard, Manscaped's products are so good, you're going to be showing pride in your new bush-free property. It is a fact that you will have the best kept area on the block. Save big and be the most hygienic version of yourself by using our discount code MHH for 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com.
Yeah, I want to give a little testimonial, as I always do, to the Crop Reviver, a little spray, a little freshener. I used it yesterday because I was running an errand. I had to pick up this giant green screen I got from the post office, and that was like 10 feet long, the box. Point being, I was sweating. It's hot outside. Didn't have time for a shower because Chad and I had to hit the radio, but I did a little few spritzes like that, and I was good to go. So cop you some Manscaped for sure.
It saves the day. Most definitely. I use these products literally every day. That is no lie. You should too. Go to manscaped.com with our code MHH. You will get 20% off plus free shipping, whatever you purchase. Manscaped.com, our code MHH, get free shipping and 20% off. Thank you for sponsoring this podcast, Manscaped. We appreciate you. Zach, lots that you and I want to get off our chest, but let's say hi to Travis real quick, and then we're going to bring on Luke Patterson to ask him a few questions. Travis says, good evening. Good to see you, buddy. Appreciate you. He says, seeing both offense and defense at this level at camp is intense. Well, let's ask Luke, who's been watching it, eyeball witness, man on the scene. Luke, what's good, dude? Thanks for making time for us. How was camp day 2 today, bro?
Night and day difference. That's the first thing people are asking, right? On Twitter, Facebook, all over. What's it like not having a quarterback competition? It's amazing. First of all, you're seeing a heightened level of not only awareness, but that word energy is just thrown around ad nauseum over there for good reason. The offense definitely won the day today. Defense dominated yesterday, but it's pretty cool when you start really stepping back and looking at it. I mean, Russell Wilson and Pat Surtain are on the same team. They get to talk about what each other are thinking. They get to go up against each other. That's truly iron sharpening iron, something DeMarcus Ware and the 2015 Denver Broncos know all about. So it's awesome to be back to football. There's this new buzz. That's something I've never really felt. I mean, it's bizarre, man. It's the Broncos have gone from irrelevant to contender overnight with George Payton's home run hit of Russell Wilson and rookie head coach Nathaniel Hackett.
Justin Fields, who, Broncos fans aren't talking about that anymore. The Broncos have Russell Wilson and Patrick Surtain now. But Luke, I'll take the low-hanging fruit with you. Give me a couple of your standout players from 2 days of training camp. Give me a couple of your disappointing players through 2 days.
Yeah, Jonas Griffith has looked like an absolute ace. I've been really curious about him. He's gotten a lot of run, fellas, as you know, in minicamp and the offseason workouts. And part of it for me was wondering, is that valid? Does this guy deserve it? I mean, he played, 4 games, I think, started last year, 13 games, something like that. Serviceable linebacker, right? But is there enough buzz there, or are you just trying to distract me from moving my guy Baron Browning to edge? By the way, Baron Browning is looking very good, but Jonas Griffith, man, he is as good as advertised. He's moving around pretty well. He's 6'4", so he's got some height for a linebacker. You love to see that on the inside. I absolutely love his game. He's put together 2 really good days. Just like Baron Browning, as I mentioned, he is still going to have to learn some things and figure out what the technician aspect of using his hands as a pass rusher is going to be in the NFL. So I don't know if you want to call it another rookie season for Baron Browning. I don't know if you want to describe him as a poor man's Micah Parsons. Those are 2 players I've really liked seeing. You move over to the offensive side of the ball. Jerry Judy has bummed me out just a little bit to end the day yesterday. He drops a pass that gets kind of stripped, and then it's a takeaway from the defense. I think Simmons ultimately ended up with that one, and that was just a real poor way to end practice, if you will. It made me think about Vic Fangio somewhere smiling because the defense won, and then he wanted to end practice that way. But it's cool when you see a defense challenging this really, really talented offense that the Broncos have. And then looking at Cortland Sutton, love to see Cortland Sutton out there without a knee brace, fellas. No more knee brace. He doesn't need Garrett Bowles' knee brace anymore, and he's running loose. He is looking good. I absolutely love to see it. Melvin Gordon, I've got to take a shot. He's doing conditioning after practice. Why? Because he's not in shape, because he didn't show up to voluntary OTAs. That's just my little personal shot. In all seriousness, the running backs look good. All of them really do. Demarie Crockett, you got Mike Boone, who's looking really well. Got a touchdown from Russell Wilson on a swing route yesterday in a red zone drill. So lots of good, lots of positive, but the big word, the theme is competition.
All right, Luke, I got a question for you. And Dale, hang tight, dude. We're going to address your very, very generous comment and super chat here in just a moment, but we only have Luke for a very brief time. So hang tight with us, my dog. It's so great to hear from you, by the way. I've been missing you. I've missed your musk as well, my dog. Luke, right now we have, I don't know, about 150 people in the room total. And yesterday for camp, Mike Kliss reported there was a little over 2,000 people in attendance, fans, right? Today, I want to know what you felt like the fan show out was, and if everyone's so excited about Russell Wilson, where they at, dude? Where's everybody at? What's going on?
Where they at? I'm going to try to not avoid the question, right? Because it's not something I necessarily want to answer. Look, the Broncos country is excited. That's just a fact. But you also look at some other things. You look at real life outside of football. People are trying to get last minute vacations in this time of year. That's always the case. Kids are getting ready to go back to school. Some are already gearing up next week. Parents going back to work. Daycare is expensive. Hell, gas is expensive. You guys know that. Everybody watching knows that. So driving to camp for anybody isn't cheap these days. And you ultimately have to budget it out. Now, I think things are really going to change and money's truly going to talk when those tickets get released and you see those babies go sold out and everything else like that. But no, I was a little disappointed today, but it was a weird day, fellas. Overcast, right? Kind of rainy. I absolutely loved it. Wasn't sweating for once. But remember, Manscaped has your back. It's just one of those things, man, where I think there were probably 2,500, maybe 3,000 people today. That's just me guessing. I haven't looked. Again, 2,057 reported yesterday. But a lot of these folks are from out of town. That's really, really cool. You're having folks take their time and invest in the fuel, in the transportation, bringing the kids down to camp, and they want to see Russell Wilson. They want to see number 3. They want to get a glimpse of some of their favorite players. Cortland Sutton, Brandon McManus is a hit. I can't believe we're talking about the kicker here on training camp, but he is a hit. Fans love playing catch with him before the practice even starts. That was my first question, fellas, heading into camp. Who's going to be Von Miller this year? Who's going to lead the clapping? Who's going to get the crowd into it? What's that going to look like? Because it's got to be authentic. If it's cheesy or corny, guys aren't going to buy it. Gals aren't going to buy it, and it's just going to look really stale. Well, you've got some guy named Russell Wilson slapping hands with everybody, B-Mac throwing the ball back and forth, a totally new energy with the Broncos.
I mentioned it on the radio earlier today that it's also middle of the week. It's hard for a lot of people to get away from work and their commitments as well. It's not like a game day on a Sunday where most people are off. But Luke, I have one more for you, kind of a niche question. Mm-hmm. I saw that Netanya Muti got some first team reps at, I believe, left guard. On the O-line today. How has the O-line as a whole looked? Because all we know is that Garrett Bowles is going to play left tackle. 4 other spots are up for grabs. What have you seen?
Yeah, the O-line. That's a really interesting topic that you bring up. Obviously, go to milehighhuddle.com. You can read about Tom Compton's surgery. Zach wrote that one there. Chad's got some articles up. Yours truly has an article up. Get on over to milehighhuddle.com. But no, one of those things about the offensive line that's interesting at guard, your boy, Draymond Jones, had himself a day yesterday. He was getting after the belly, and that's not me trying to go after Quinn Miners. You guys know I'm a Quinn Miners guy. We all? But Draymond Jones just climbing the ladder and almost some bull rush moves. He lined up over Calvin Anderson as well. Looked absolutely phenomenal. Quinn Miners responds today by coming back and having a much better day, having a lot more fight to him. Talking with some former players, kind of found out he was leading a little too early, and timing is everything with this zone blocking scheme. And look, that's why Mike Munchak's not here. Okay, Mike Munchak really he's not a fan of the zone scheme one bit. He likes the gap, he likes the power, he likes the duo. Now we're switching. You're switching everything over to Butch Berry. And look, that's a transition, fellas, not just in scheme, but in personality. A lot of colorful personalities in that offensive line room. Sometimes things can get a little delicate, as we've seen in the past with the Broncos offensive linemen, but I just think it's going to have to be a patience thing. Dalton Reisner's putting together a very decent camp right now, 2 strong days. Lloyd Cushenberry has looked much improved as well, but that right tackle position, as you guys mentioned, it's a revolving door. What are we doing? I think Quinn Miners, he's on the hot seat a little bit because Netanya Muti was coming up. He's also getting reps at right guard too. Graham Glasgow has been a little MIA, in my opinion. Have not seen him on the first team reps too much. Doesn't mean he's not there. It just means maybe I wasn't seeing it. But I think that's really interesting as well. So tons of jobs up for grabs. Calvin Anderson is also looking decent. I know, not the sexiest thing in the world to talk about. Garrett Bowles looking decent as well. We just don't need Garrett Bowles and Bradley Chubb fighting this year. All right. And I heard you guys talking right before I hopped on. Chubb's looking good. That hype is real. He's somewhat limited in positional drills and stuff like that, and I'm fine with that. Let's do what we got to do to get this man on the field, and no contact between Garrett Bowles and Bradley Chubb. None of those fisticuffs.
Make sure you're following Luke on Twitter at Luke Patterson LP. He's going to be at Broncos camp tomorrow and every day after that. Luke Patterson, bro, thanks for making time for us tonight, guys. Go read his takeaways piece from today. It's up at milehighhuddle.com. Looking forward to seeing what you have to say about it all tomorrow, bro. Thanks for making time.
Yeah, guys, be sure to get on over to Twitter at Mile High Huddle. Give us a like, give us a thumbs up. Let us know how we're doing, and say hello if you're out at camp. Man, football is back. How good is that?
Amen, brother. Appreciate you, Luke. And
Thanks,
it's been really cool seeing the selfies with the members of our community and all that. Yep. So make sure you go say hi to Luke if you do peep him. Have a good night, bro. Luke Patterson, there he goes, doing the Lord's work for us. And we appreciate him. We appreciate him. I don't know what we'd do without him. But, guys, we have been sitting on this because Luke had a very brief moment of time. We had to make sure we got that to him. Plus, we wanted to be able to give our Super Chat superstars like D-Dub and the Duchess coming up next the props and love that they so deserve. This is a top 20 Super Chat that we've received on this podcast, on this channel since its inception. And Dale, it's not the first top 20 Super Chat he is responsible for. We love him. He's a close friend of ours. We got a chance to hang out with him just 2 months ago in Vegas, and we got the chance to meet with him and hang with him the last fall at the MHH meet and greet. I don't know, D-Dub, if you and Gretchen are going to be able to make the trip for week 3 this fall for the MHH meet and greet from, Paradise. I don't know how you talk yourself out of leaving Hawaii, but I guess anything, Zach, can become passe. But listen, Dale, love you, dude. Seriously, so generous. I don't want to minimize that in any way, shape, or form, dude. That helps us right now in a big, bad way. Zach, he says, every day I'm late to the show. Business is demanding, but I've been keeping in the loop. Very, very excited about Luke Patterson's intel coming from day 2. Miss being in the mix, but just want to give a mile-high salute to you, Chad and Zach, and all the faithful Broncos for life state of being. One of the great members of our community that personifies that hashtag state of being. Dale, love you, bro.
Genuinely one of the coolest, most badass dudes I've ever met in my entire life. And, and a person, and Gretchen for that matter as well, couldn't have been more appreciative for what you did for us in Vegas and getting the chance to meet with you, Dale, and hang out with you. But what is there to say, really? It's going to come across as campy or cliche, but genuinely from the bottom of my heart and Chad's heart as well. Everyone here, it's incredible, that level of support. Thank you so much.
And it's just fun hanging out with Dale because you think, we're going to talk about football. And of course you're going to talk about football, but then you also end up talking about philosophy and different, I don't know. We kind of chopped it up quite a bit. Yeah. In Vegas, but Dale, dude, thank you, bro. Thank you for making an entrance like that. It's so great to see you. And we appreciate that love, big dog. The Duchess also showing some very, very generous support here with a Duchess-esque top rope super chat. Seriously, look, as you can see, blows the hair off the top of my head. She says, I heard Chubb has been looking good thus far. Hope he lives up to his draft stock. MHH rocks. 2 of our legendary Mount Rushmore Super Chat superstars carving out their territory, making it known. We're Mount Rushmore. Listen up. Michaela, love you.
Honestly, it makes me shake my head in disbelief that we get to do this and we have this level of support from y'all in these times. Luke mentioned gas prices, everything going up right now, everything being expensive, and you guys are so supportive and giving, and it literally blows us away. Thank you, Michaela. And as Scott said in the side chat, lady in red. Absolutely.
That's right. And sometimes in green, if she maybe forgot a point that she wanted to make, like this one, where she says MHH should ask Walmart to be a show sponsor. LOL. Yeah, maybe. But the problem is with Walmart, if you think about it, you don't see them sponsoring a lot of stuff because they don't really need to. Everyone just goes to Walmart. I better not say anything, but some people avoid going to Walmart, but it's hard to do that if you're responsible for feeding mouths, multiple people, because the prices. But yeah, we'll send an inquiry to the Rob Walton organization, see what kind of feedback we get.
I'd rather pay more than have to go to. I feel depressed when I walk into Walmart usually, but we do appreciate the plug there, Michaela, and we wouldn't say no, Rob, if you're listening.
Charlie throwing down some stars. Appreciate that, big dog. Very nice to see you. You kind of been building some momentum as a super supporter on Facebook lately, so it's really cool to see that, my friend. Speaking of cred, speaking of cachet and clout, here comes GLP. Gary Leeds Palmer throwing down some stars. Appreciate that, bro. He says, good afternoon, Chad, Zach, Scott, and Broncos country. I'm so happy for the Broncos. They look so good. Go Broncos. I do agree that there is so much to be excited about. So much for people to, for the first time, like genuine excitement. I mean, let's face it, every single offseason at this time, training camp gets going. Those of us that are in this room right now, we're always excited for Broncos football, whether it's Drew Lock, Zach, whether it's Teddy Bridgewater, we're always going to be geeked up for it. But this time you actually have a real reason for optimism and confidence in your optimism. And that, I shouldn't have to say it feels a little bit foreign, but it does just a little bit. It's been a while. when Peyton Manning was here, you were like, all right, automatic berth to the playoffs. Now, what happens from there, we shall see. But Russell Wilson about to provide that. Why isn't the hype that we're hearing about, like on social media and all that, why is it not translating to people showing up to training camp? Like Peyton Manning, you'd be having twice. Is it just the number of people in attendance for a Peyton Manning training camp? Like you go back to 2015. Is it just simply that the star power isn't on the same level as Peyton with Russ?
Because there were Peyton Manning fans, not necessarily Broncos fans, that came to watch him. People who live in Indiana, I'm assuming, or followed him from his college career. But I'm going to drive home your point further with a story, because a couple days ago on the doorstep of training camp, there was a guy waiting in line to get in since 3:45 that afternoon, and doors didn't open until 10 a.m. Mountain Time the next morning. He wasn't doing that. No one was doing that to get in last year to watch Vic Fangio and Teddy Bridgewater. Russell Wilson and Nathaniel Hackett, you can ask any player, any coach, anyone with eyes and a brain. They've reinvigorated the franchise. And despite the Nate Davises of the world, I think that was his name, Chad, who predicted 8-9 for the Broncos, one more victory than they had last year. It doesn't matter, because we all know what they look like. We all know what they're capable of. And as long as they, knock wood, stay healthy, they're in for a big year.
Hey guys, here is a reminder. Please make sure you've liked the video if you're hanging out with us for even if it's only 2 minutes. You might not agree with every take that myself or Zach espouses here on the show, but if you at least respect the effort, give us a like. It's a small thing you can do to help out. Big T saying we are in for a ride this season. Let's go. Zach, I thought it was interesting. All right. Broncos PR, they're fully on board the catchphrase, let's ride. When we get the press releases, when we get the quotes and the remarks that they are kind enough to transcribe and then send to us after each and every presser and whatnot, guess what is at the very bottom? Let's ride. Let's ride, dude. They have fully embraced the Russell Wilson catchphrase, and as well they should.
The people that are knocking Russell Wilson, though, for repeating it are the same ones that are knocking him for driving that oversized truck or wearing his own jersey. It's like, who cares? Who cares? Who cares? Let's just play ball. I love the fact the Broncos are embracing it. And even certain radio stations, Chad, wonder where they got this idea from, using threes as E's in slogans.
Phil's giving some props and some stars. Luke with the great information. # let's ride. We do appreciate that, my friend. I know Luke does. We got a question here about where to go. I had one on Montrell, or the punt returner. I lost it. Dang it. The chat did a jump. Hasn't been doing that for a while, and suddenly it does. I'll see if I can find it again. But Montrell Washington has, for what it's worth, been building up some buzz, getting some props. I mean, it wasn't just Russell Wilson name dropping him during the offseason. Since camp has begun, Zach, he's popping off a little bit on the grass. You heard Nathaniel Hackett give him some props today. Russell Wilson talking about how his preparation and like showing up early for those pre-practice session walkthroughs that Russ has been organizing. And then Russ, by the way, Zach, dropped a phrase that I had never heard before. This was yesterday at the podium. I hadn't heard this before, but I love it. That the separation is preparation. That's what it is. The separation is preparation. So you want to separate from the pack. You want to be better. You want to rise above. He's saying the preparation is how you get that separation. And it sounds like Montrell Washington is doing just that.
Well, he's not just a rookie. He's not just a 5th-round pick. He's a wide receiver on a team chock full of wide receivers. So to carve out some significant playing time beyond special teams, he has to separate himself, as you just mentioned there, and he's doing so. He's never going to be the biggest person in the room, the strongest, the fastest, the smartest, whatever, but he's the hardest worker in the room. And something that Nathaniel Hackett talked about, Russell Wilson talked about, he is outworking every one of his counterparts because he wants to be great. And you know what? That's impressed Russell Wilson, and that impression is going to lead to targets from Russell Wilson when he plays offense.
It was K-Hop. I just say K-Hop. I don't know. Is it Cop 16 K-Hop? But you are in almost every chat and you're diligent in your questions. And he wants to know, how does the praise that the two returners, Montrell Washington and the other guy, are getting, how does that affect Kendall Hinton? Does he make the roster? I don't think Kendall Hinton makes the roster personally. I think it's going to be at wide receiver. And this is, of course, assuming health, right? Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, Jerry Judy. Well, maybe he could, depending on what kind of roster math shapes up with KJ starting on PUP. So let's just assume KJ is on PUP for a minute. All right. Sutton, Tim, Judy. Then who? Montrell, I think, is making it, barring some kind of a summer collapse, which I just don't foresee. So there's 4. They could keep up to 6. The Fangio era Broncos kept 6 because one of them was the returner, and I would expect them to use one of these guys as the returner. That's Washington. Who's that next guy or 2 maybe? Because KJ is coming back to the roster, then that guy gets bumped. Who are 2 names you could be a threat, and is one of them Kendall Hinton?
One of them last year was the designated fake jet sweep runner, and that was Jerry Judy. It's either going to be Tyree Cleveland, Travis Fulgham, or Seth Williams. And the next man up, if KJ Hamler is out, I think it would be Kendall Hinton, but the plan is to get Hamler back for the regular season before final cuts come out. And Hinton, to me, great story, Hall of Famer. He's getting better as a receiver. Obviously, he can play a little quarterback too. Good guy overall. You can't do it. You can't keep him. You can't have that many receivers, and you have to make tough decisions. It would not shock me, Chad, all things being equal, if they try to trade Kendall Hinton before they have to cut him. Try to get something a la Trinity Benson last year.
Lawrence is bringing up the rock or the truck, pardon me, from Russ that he showed up in on day 1. He says, "Love you, Broncos country." Does he actually rock crawl though? I'd show him some trails. Don't know. Don't know about that. I haven't seen any social media posts of him, because he's the type of guy that, he's like Carmen Sandiego. Where in the world is Russell Wilson? I'm talking in the offseason, right? I'm not trying to throw any shade at him whatsoever. Don't misinterpret that. But wherever he is, he's on point with his social media game. He's going to snap a pic. I haven't seen him in Moab, Utah, climbing rocks or something, in his. But you know what? When you make that many millions of dollars and your spouse is a superstar entertainer as well, you can afford to buy a little toy like that that might not get used for the specific application of which it was intended.
I love Russ and all, but it seems like to me that he's more of the glitz and glamour type than he is the rough and tumble type. So I can't see him scaling any rocks or becoming the next 127 hours victim. Can't remember the name of the guy in real life.
Brutal. Jeremy, Montrell is showing up before Wilson. Yep, at 5 a.m. Dude is trying not to blow his shot. Yeah, he was he was surprised that he got drafted. He expected to, catch on by signing as a college free agent, but the Broncos saw that film of that one game, and especially Dwayne Stukes, the special teams coordinator, stood on the table, essentially pounding it, draft this cat, and the Broncos did. And you know what, Zach, I think it would be really cool for that to work out in a way where, yeah, he comes in, he makes an impact for the guy that was vouching for him, and then he also finds a way to make an impact on offense. It's been a while since the Broncos actually had a returner that contributed on offense. Like, even if you go back to the Trendon Holiday days, any guy after that, pick them. They've tried to involve him in the offense. It's just they've never really been able to capitalize on that.
I'm going to quote the great philosopher Eminem. You only get one shot, one opportunity. And that's Montrell Washington's case right now. He has to prove that he belongs, that he's worthy of getting snaps in that deep receiving core. And so far, so good. The great thing is he has speed. And aside from KJ Hamler, who's hurt right now, no one is really can match his speed that he has. So I like that he's hardworking. I like that he's forming that chemistry with Russell Wilson, because you can never have too many weapons.
I'm liking this, Zach. We're seeing the numbers climb in the room. Welcome into those of you who are joining us now or have joined us in the recent moments that weren't here at the very top of the show. It's great to have you. Make sure you give us a like. All right. Huero, legendary, and bona fide super chat superstar here at MHH. Appreciate you, buddy. He says, I finally caught alive again. One thing to be excited about is that our team is so stacked, we often forget about the players that showed flashes last year who could take the next step, such as Jonas Griffith, who, you heard Luke mention, thank you, Huero. You heard Luke mention Jonas Griffith while he was on with us a few moments ago, Zach. And he also wrote about him in his camp notebook. And it doesn't come as a surprise to me anyway, because I think that's who is going to, I've thought this for a while, that's who's going to start next to Josie Jewell when they're in base. And it wouldn't surprise me, seriously, over the course of the season, to see Griffith, if he continues to develop, eclipse Josie Jewell. Even though Jewell's like the coach on the field and he's like their field general on defense, it's hard to unseat a guy like that. This is a dude that in the 4 starts he had down the stretch to end the season, he averaged over 10 tackles a game. Averaged over 10 tackles a game. Like, he's long, he's fast, he's athletic. Teach him how to cover, teach him how to use his eyes. Preparation, that's where the separation happens, according to Russ. You're starting to see him separate in a big, bad way, Jonas Griffith.
I don't know if this is intended to be funny, but Slap Yourself says Russell Wilson looks like the type of dude that keeps a mini Bible in a side pocket. So I don't see him scaling any mountains or rocks. But you know what, Wero, great question, and thank you so much for your generosity. That's why I asked Luke about Netani Muti, about the offensive line, and about the depth, because you're right. Everyone talks about the top level of the roster, the Russell Wilsons, the Randy Gregorys, the Cortland Suttons, Patrick Surtain, Simmons, so on. But no one's talking about the Griffiths and the Netani Mutis. The depth they have on this roster, maybe except for right tackle now, is unlike anything they've had in recent years. And they can weather any storm now because of that depth. So I got to give another shout out to George Payton for fully restocking the cupboard.
For what it's worth, Nathaniel Hackett today, when he was asked about, hey, we're seeing Miners and Muti kind of swapping in and out together. Is that a theme? Like, is Muti really showing out because everyone's expecting Miners to be the starter at right guard? And Hackett said, quote, right now we're just rotating people in. The O-line just needs to work with as many different combinations as possible, because just like in the past for me, you never know what is going to happen, and you want to make sure that everyone is comfortable working together, close quote. So, Zach, it would seem that the early momentum Netani Muti built up. Shout out. If we ever see Mama Muti in the chat again, this is really great development for the Muti clan. It wasn't just hype. Like, Nathaniel Hackett apparently has been very impressed with Netani Muti, so much so that he's rotating him in with the ones in place of Quinn Miners, who was roundly tapped to start at right guard.
So if it's just SOP and the rotating players, how come they're not rotating anyone at left tackle in first team drills for Garrett Bowles? I don't think he's a little more coach speak, I think, than people want to read through when it comes to Hackett and what they're doing right now. It's obvious that maybe they're not sold on one of the guard spots. Maybe they're not sold on Reisner or Quinn Miners, even though more coach speak. Hackett said earlier this offseason, Chad, that Quinn Miners will be a very good right guard for us. You wouldn't think there'd be competition there, but there is. But I want to see Netani Muti get a shot at either spot, regardless. I still feel like there's something there. He's so powerful, and if he can just hone himself more athletically in Butch Barry's scheme, you might have something.
Yeah, the big thing with him is Hackett talked about in the offseason how impressed he was at his get off on the snap, which is important in the zone scheme. He talked about what else is important in the zone scheme for an offensive lineman. We'll get to that here in a second. But Robot of Doom on Twitch, good to see you, buddy. He says, my priest, I have missed you so much. Been busy with life and work, but I try and tune in and listen here and there. Excited for Broncos football, baby. Hashtag let's ride. Well, we do appreciate that, bro. Thanks for checking in with us. And however you can fit us in, we do appreciate that. Zach, on the topic of the zone blocking scheme, what it takes, he said 2 things: trust and run off the ball. Quote, I think that's always the big thing. I got to learn more about this. I remember when I was younger watching Alex Gibbs, the brainchild behind the zone blocking. He was really the starting point of it, and actually feeling that and hearing it and seeing it, then being a part of it the last 3 years in Green Bay, watching Adam Stenovich and how he coached it and how he preached it. Now, Justin Outen, because he was in Atlanta, right, and all those other places, really get that feel. It's a full commitment, the zone blocking scheme. So as an individual player, if you're Netani Muti, if you are Quinn Miners, it's a full commitment. And he says that's the difference. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You have to truly commit to truly running. That's the thing that we're going to continually emphasize. So, Zach, that means when you get off the ball, you got to trust that your guy, what your assignment is. You got to trust that the guys around you are going to get theirs. And it's hard to do that for guys, Zach, when they're on the run, when they're moving like that. It's one thing to do that when you're in a phone booth, right? And it's power gap. You're just like blocking the guy in front of you. But when you're moving laterally and you're sprinting off the ball and a guy kind of slips past your peripheral, it's easy to drop your discipline and maybe try and go after him, when if you just kept going and grabbed the next guy, the guy behind you is going to catch him. And then there'll be a cutback lane. Things like that is what he means by trust and commitment.
To me, this is why reports of Cushenberry's demise were greatly exaggerated, because he might not be the
Definitely.
most powerful guy in the world, but he's athletic and he can run. And that's exactly what Butch Barry's looking for in this scheme. Real quickly, Scott, before we get to GLP, I want to take this troll question for 1 second, or comment. Russell Wilson can't throw slants, but good luck. From a Seahawks fan, your quarterback is Geno Smith. You just gave DK Metcalf $72 million and your quarterback is Geno Smith. I don't want to hear it. Good luck with the rebuild. We're going to win championships, baby. Let's ride. Anyway,
y'all want to see a dead body? GLP, what's up, dude? Is there an award he asked for GMs? If so, George Payton should get it. Yeah, he already got it. He got it last year after his first draft class. He says, I've never seen such a turnaround. Well, it's like I wrote about last night, Zach, when Russell Wilson said this is a championship team. And, he's laying down the gauntlet. He's putting the AFC West on notice. We're going to be a force to be reckoned with. But what people are missing is he also went on to say, we got to go out and we got to prove it. And we start proving it here in training camp. So they haven't done it yet. It's yet to be. It's in potentia. But they are beginning to prove it each and every day at training camp. And so far, the early returns, when you and I are creating conversation on the radio, Zach, and we're breaking things down, or on this podcast talking with people, our great community, it's fun to kind of find the hole in the boat and say, all right, what could really worry you about this team, or what are you seeing that just doesn't pass the smell test? But we have to really reach when we get to those questions. I'm not seeing anything that has me running to the panic button at all. It's quite the opposite. This team so far, Zach, so good. It's living up based on the first couple of days of camp. You want to see, how is Russell Wilson really going to impact things? Is he really going to be that tide that raises all ships? And if so, how do we measure that? Who are the ships? How high are they rising? We're seeing it so far. And by the way, one of the ships we're seeing rise is Javonte Williams, who in consecutive practices to open things up, Zach, RB1.
I just can't get over the Seahawks trolls. I've been hearing it all offseason on here, on Twitter. They got broken up with by an 8 and they got with a 4 and they're talking crap about the 8 still. It's just like, enjoy the mediocrity. Enjoy what the Broncos have gone through without Russell Wilson. Because again, just to remind you, whoever you were, your quarterback is Geno Smith. Next question.
Big T says, hearing Luke's take about Baron Browning's transition to edge, I was expecting but hoping it's not going to blow back on him or Denver. We're hoping so too. Time will tell. Only time will tell on that front.
I still don't like it, and the fact that he's getting scant reps at outside linebacker when he was getting full-time reps at inside linebacker, I just can't get on board with it. I can't justify it in my mind, even with the injury to Randy Gregory and with Jonathan Cooper going through what he's going through or went through with the finger injury. I don't like it. I hope Evero and Hackett prove me wrong when it comes to Baron Browning, but I think it's a mistake still.
By the way, guys, we are keeping track of the rankings. It's been a few days since we did the Super Chat and Facebook rankings for the month of July. But as you know, we're taking the top 3 finishers in June, top 3 finishers in July, top 3 finishers in August. All right, their names go into a hat. We're going to pick a winner from YouTube. We're going to pick a winner from Facebook. What the winner gets is the red carpet treatment at the MHH meet and greet week 3, Broncos Niners on Sunday Night Football. We're going to be hanging out at the stadium all day long. Just chilling, talking shop, creating some content, hanging out with you guys. Come by, hang out, get some swag, maybe join us on a podcast. You never know. But we're going to roll out the red carpet for the winner on each side, for YouTube and for Facebook. What that means is basically you just got to get yourself there. Get there. We're going to have hotel provided for you. And this is assuming you don't live in Denver. If you live in Denver, still red carpet, but place to hang your hat, ticket to the game, and then hang out with your football priest and all the other great members of our staff here at Mile High Huddle for the meet and greet. So that's what's on the table. That's what's at stake right now. The rankings for the month of July on Super Chat. Ethan, the DWI guys, is at the very top. It's going to be hard to catch him at number 1, but it can be done. Gregory Vendeland at number 2, who has been a riser the last couple of months. The Duchess at number 3. And of course, this doesn't count tonight. Sam Bam at number 4, Zeus McPeak at number 5, and then just a few of the names you can see that are just outside the top 5. And then here in a few moments, we'll give you an update on Facebook as well. But we really appreciate those of you who are pushing for that, because those super chats, especially the last June and July where things have really been slow, it really is. When we say it helps keep the lights on at MHH, we're not lying. Like, that's the truth.
Man, I can't wait personally for the meet and greet, Chad. You know, last year was such a smashing success, and we know this year, considering it's a primetime game and we have one under our belt now, it's going to be amazing with Russell Wilson and going up against the 49ers. I can't wait for the meet and greet.
We've got Michael Ronquillo jumping in on Facebook. It's great to see you, my friend. One of our great supporters, superstars. He says, good evening. Let's ride and go Broncos. Sorry for being late. Hey, no need to apologize, dude. You're an OG. You never have to apologize. Robot of Doom says on Twitch, Zach, I say screenshot or save a lot of the Seahawks troll comments, and when week 1 comes and we steamroll Seattle, repost them and see how many people comment and troll. Hashtag let them be salty.
All the salt. It's so funny you say that, Robot, because I'm looking at a screenshot right now. Let's see when I took it. May 12th. And it was a screenshot of Bucky Brooks on NFL Total Access saying, and I quote, when I look at this team from 1 to 53, I feel like they are at the bottom of the division. And I took that for posterity. I want to come back to it in January. But yeah, it might be a good idea, Scott says, to do like a read later in the season of all the troll comments and all the predictions that these Geno Smith fans want to pander to us. Real quick, though, while we're on the topic, Chad, I promise I won't be on the soapbox too long. Fine. We have Jeremy Sean here saying they are heartbroken. Zach, have some mercy on them. I can tell you're being facetious, Jeremy, but I'm not going to have any pity on them, because who had pity on the Broncos when they went through this the last 5 or 6 years? They were written off and castigated and made fun of and turned into a meme with the quarterback carousel playing during every single game. So no one had mercy on the Broncos. I'm not having mercy on the Seahawks or anybody else. I'm out to win. Dog eat dog. And I'm the biggest dog on the lot.
Not only that, Zach, okay, but he's coming into a Broncos stream trying to talk smack. So you can't feel sorry for those people that are inviting, encouraging, kicking up, conflict and trying to, basically create a stir. So whatever. To enjoy Geno. Let us know how that goes, dog. Let us know. Drop us a line. And maybe Drew. Who knows? Maybe Drew Lock comes through and fulfills some of the boldest predictions or hopes that people in Broncos country, like you and I at one point, had for Drew. Mason, some Seattle fans haven't handled the Russ trade well, clearly. It's just football. Been tuning in to y'all since the Russ trade, just to get a different perspective. As a Hawks fan, no hard feelings. See, and that's
this
the thing.
Is good.
You come correct with I don't want to say respect, like, kiss the ring, but just like you're a human respecting another human, then you're going to get that back. I promise you, from anybody in Broncos country.
Listen, it's one thing to have feelings about the Russell Wilson trade if you're a Seahawks fan. It's one thing to be skeptical of what he can do in Denver, but when you're going to outright talk smack and predict a week 1 blowout and this and that, that's where it becomes a little much. That's where I have to kind of smack y'all down a little bit, because, again, Geno Smith and Drew Lock versus Russell Wilson, I'm taking Russell Wilson all day in that scenario. So we're happy to give another perspective here. And if you I guess respect is the proper word. If you come in and show us respect on a Broncos podcast, we have no problem debating the merits of Russell Wilson with the Broncos or Drew Lock with the Seahawks. But if you're going to come in and say, good luck this year, good luck for you. Enjoy doing housework on Sundays in the fall.
Zach, segue here. Luke brought up the Garrett Bowles and the Bradley Chubb fighting thing, right? Here is what Garrett Bowles said about it today when he was asked. He said, y'all need to get over this fighting thing. Brothers fight, right? It is what it is. We're brothers. Sometimes brothers have to fight to get the best out of each other, but it's healthy competition.
Brothers don't shake hands. Brothers hug.
Brothers gotta hug. Tommy Boy. I might watch Tommy Boy tonight when I go to sleep. I turn on a movie when it's time to go to sleep. My wife needs like pitch black. The best I can get is I've got a fan going. That's like the most white noise I can have ambiently in the room. So I put on my Bluetooth. I turn on usually a comedy, and I
it was Blades of Glory at the Combine a few years ago.
It was, yes, you remember. That's right, dude. I'm a binger. Like I find a movie that gets, if I sleep well, then I say, okay, then I'm gonna keep watching this movie every night to go to sleep until all of a sudden I don't sleep well. Then I pick another movie. But I think Tommy Boy, it's about time for Tommy Boy to come back to the rotation.
Tommy want wingy. I can just keep quoting it all night. What a classic, man. What a legend that we lost in Chris Farley, man.
Tommy Hungy. Tommy want wingy. Zach, speaking of legendary figures like Tommy Boy, here are the legends in the top 5 right now on Facebook, our super supporters in the running for the month of July. This is what it looks like. Gary Leeds Palmer, number 1. Love seeing that. GLP. Phil McLaughlin, number 2. Mark Schrader, number 3. Big T, Travis Weber, number 4. And Jacob Foster, number 5. So much love and respect, you guys. We really do appreciate that.
Oh, we're just quoting. We got Scott quoting, and now I can't stop thinking about Tommy Boy. Does this shirt make me look fat? Now your face does. How about he goes, "Did you throw a Niner in there? Or are you calling from a walkie-talkie?" There's just so many great parts of that movie. We appreciate all the support, though, guys. This was the Tommy Boy podcast. We'll wrap it up tonight.
Let's just not try and get the anecdote about the bowl, getting a good look at the bowl.
I still can't get that.
All right. We're at 50 minutes. We got a few more moments till we dip on out of here. Before we do, Zach, there are a couple other notes that I wanted to get to. Patrick Surtain did say today, and by the way, Surtain, baller. He's been throwing down, dude. Love seeing him. He said this is a top 5 secondary, top 5 defense. All right, the Denver Broncos. So far, Zach, are they playing that way? Do you think that holds some water?
I mean, I'm not going to overreact to 2 days of training camp practices and everything's kind of at half speed still, but damn, I wasn't expecting the secondary to look as good as they were. Simmons looks like he hasn't even reached his ceiling yet as a safety. He's looking like the best in the NFL. PS2's making practice-ending PBUs against Cortland Sutton. You talk about a big-time situation. He's responding to it. You have Jaquan McMillan, an undrafted cornerback, making plays as well. I mean, I was not a skeptic about Evero. I didn't know much about him, Chad. He was a relative unknown to me, and he was a secondary coach. And boy, he came in, and the secondary looks like it's going to be at least top 5 this year, maybe even the best in the NFL.
By the way, real quick, this just caught my attention. Scott says, my wife can fall asleep in under 20 seconds. It's a superpower.
Oh,
my wife can too, dude. Mine is the exact same. In fact, if you're in sitting down posture and you don't get her attention within 20, 30 seconds and look, she will be asleep. You got to keep her attention. Yeah, it's Scott says it's clean conscience. That's right. That's exactly true. My name's Rufus. That's the truthus. Zach, what's up with Eric Saubert? Tight end 1? What the Sam Hill? People are going, what is happening right now? And as we explained on the radio show today, by the way, guys, if you are following us on Twitter, you're never going to wonder how to listen to the radio show from 2 to 3 if you're out of market. Make sure you're following on Twitter. You're always going to see us tweet out the link on how to listen live online, the Mile High Huddle Show on Mile High Sports, FM 98.1 in Denver, etc. But, Zach, it's all about this. Albert, can you block? No? Well, guess what? It's called the zone blocking scheme. If you can't block, you're not going to be on the field except for third down packages.
First of all, 20 seconds to fall asleep is a damn superpower. It takes me 20 minutes to turn my brain off when I lay down, with a clean conscience, as Scott said. But Eric Saubert's been the most surprising offensive player to me through 2 days of training camp. We all thought it was going to be Alberto, and maybe even waiting until Greg Dulcich gets back. And they do have Tomlinson as well. Andrew Beck caught a pass today, but it's one thing for Saubert to remain in the mix, and he definitely, I think, locked down a 53 spot. It's another for him to make play after play after play down the seam, and it seems like Nathaniel Hackett's throwing caution to the wind with that narrative about Russ not throwing to his tight ends. He's targeted Saubert heavy, and Saubert's made the play. So that's been a crow-eating point for me because I didn't see why they brought Saubert back. I was never the biggest fan of his personally, but, man, he looks pretty good through 2 days.
No doubt about it. Hey, Dale, shout out to you, big dog. Appreciate you as well. All right. And hope you're holding up okay with whoops, throw that back on there. Scott, my bad. I accidentally clicked that off. What you went through in the loss you went through. We keep you in our thoughts and prayers still, big dog. Phil, appreciate that, my friend. And the stars, he says, love getting such detail on our Broncos. MHH for life. # let's ride. Appreciate that, you guys. Seriously. We really do appreciate that. And we need you guys checking out the radio show as well. So remember to follow us on Twitter. Most of you already are. This is, you don't need to be told this. But if you want to make sure you can listen live between 2 and 3 p.m. Mountain Time, 5 days a week, every weekday, you'll get the link right before we go live and you can listen. So Ron Dub.
Special treat time.
a bona fide superstar. Are you going to be there week 3? Have we decided? Have we heard? I think he might have mentioned that he's going to come, right? Again, he's going to be here. Traverse the entire fruited plain. I kid you not. This cat came from Georgia last year to hang out with us, and it was definitely worth our while. We love hanging out with you, Ron. And the questions you bring as a Super Chat superstar, edifying, illuminating. We love you. He says, hey, guys, who will be the most improved player? Which tight end will have more tutties and more yards? See you both soon. I did it again, dude. I freaking did it again. If I just read the Super Chat first, the answer to my question's probably there. But Ron, love you, big dog. Looking forward to that. Who will be the most improved player, Zach?
You know what? We talked about it on the radio show today. When you have 0 touchdowns over the course of a regular season, if you score 1, that's an improvement. So the obvious answer to me is Jerry Judy. He's obviously going to see a lower target share because he's competing for these snaps with these receivers, but the sky's the limit, and there's nowhere to go but up if you're Jerry Judy. Second question, though, about tight ends. How I see it shaking out, the yards will go to Alberto, and the touchdowns right now, I have to think Eric Saubert is going to be a factor in the red zone or near the goal line, Chad. Play action, wide open in the back of the end zone. I can see that happening. So I'm going to go Alberto and Saubert, but it can easily be Alberto and Dulcich.
I'm not quite ready to vault Saubert that far quite yet. I was actually quite high on Saubert because if you guys can remember, he came out of nowhere as a 1-year signing last summer and looked really good, and then they didn't freaking use him during the season. And I get it. You had a first-round pick, Noah Fant. You had Albert Okwuegbunam coming back from the knee in terms of, how many tight ends are you going to use on the field at one time? He ended up being third fiddle, and understandably so. But what's going to happen this time when Greg Dulcich comes back? Because maybe Alberto's not holding up as a blocker the way the coaches want to see it. Hence, hence Saubert eating out of Alberto's bowl. But is that going to be how it is when Greg arrives? Has Greg maybe attacked the blocking thing with more alacrity, or does he already have a better foundation? If I'm Alberto, dude, I am going, this is not good, dude. This guy was an afterthought re-addition to the roster, skin of his teeth, Eric Saubert, and he's the one out here getting the oohs and the ahs. I got to look inside. I got to dig deep. I don't think Alberto should be overlooked on this front, but it wouldn't surprise me to see an Eric Saubert come in just because, again, you got to be able to block. If you're going to, the tight end has to be able to block if you're going to successfully sell and implement the zone blocking scheme. So hopefully, at the very least, Zach, hopefully this first few days of camp has been a reality check for Alberto, for Greg Dulcich to say, look, you've heard coaches break your cojones your whole career about you need to learn how to block. Well, look, this is it. If you don't block, you're not seeing the field.
Well, I'm curious to know your answer for most improved player if you share a brain with me and say Jerry Judy. I'm also thinking about Michael O. That could be another – I'm trying to think of what player that really struggled in recent years besides Jerry Judy. I mean, Alberto with the drops and the injuries, but
just for the sake of parity, I'm going to say Cortland Sutton because Cortland did not have a good year last year. All right, they did extend him, and he went through hell with his knee, and he went through hell with his Q situation. He went through hell with his offensive coordinator. But we talked, there's another thing we touched on the show today. If you look at Cortland's stats down the stretch, dude, after he got paid, no, I think this is a Cortland Sutton. Most improved, maybe not that caliber because he is a proven guy already. So I think you have to maybe be unproven in the NFL to qualify. But I do think Cortland Sutton is going to have a monster season. Otherwise, I concur. It's Jerry Judy.
A couple more might be Lloyd Cushenberry and Dalton Greisner. They're two of the bottom-ranked linemen from last season, and now we think they're going to thrive in the Butch Barry scheme. So a couple other candidates as well for that title.
It's great to see all of you tonight. Thank you so much for coming in. And again, humbly we ask, make sure you like the video before you dip out. But we're going to go through our matters of business and sign on out of here.
Before we do, though, we have a Cowboys troll now in the comments section for whatever reason. I don't even know why. Russ is washed. Okay, well, the Cowboys are perennial chokers, so enjoy that Zeke contract. That's paying off for you really well. That's going to do it for the Huddle Up podcast, though. And by the way, Michael Gallup, he won't play reportedly till week 5 with that ACL injury. Just paid him as well, so good luck, Cowboys fan. That was the Mile High Huddle podcast. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Huddle Up Pod. You can follow the main account on Twitter at Mile High Huddle. You can follow Chad on Twitter at Chad and Jensen, myself at Kelberman NFL, Scott on Twitter at Scout Kennedy. If you guys want some merch, all new stuff, just restocked in the store, huddleuppod.com. Check it out. I promise y'all won't be disappointed. And facebook.com/Mile High Huddle Pod. Like that page and follow that page, guys. If you haven't, please go to Apple Podcasts and leave your football priest a 5-star review for a chance to win some all new merch each and every single month. But if you can't do any of those things, please do these 3 things: subscribe, like, and share this video and every video you see on the MHH channel. It really, really, really helps us grow. 3 reallys and reach more Broncos fans just like you.
And guys, like we told you, some dope new designs on the merch store. Keep those orders coming. And remember, when you do get your new t-shirt or your new hat, I mean, some of these hats, I'm telling you, like, they're dope. I've got a few coming my way. Let me see if I can find one real quick before we go. Hats, accessories, caps. All right, look at this, dude. Okay, dope. That's the design. Dope. That's the design. You got the beanie. Dope. You got these weird looking cats. You got the Christie hat. All right, that's dope. So, and remember, that's another way to support what we're doing here. Plus, you get a little something, keep your dome warm, right? When it gets to the cooler weather of football season. But shout out to these great supporters on Facebook. Phil McLaughlin, thank you, buddy. Very generous tonight. Same with you, Lawrence. Howie frickin' Day, GLP, Travis Weber, Charlie Dominguez. Much love and respect, and our great Super Chat superstars. The Duchess throwing down. Dale, so great to see you. Thank you so much, big dog. Frankie, great to see you again. Sam Bam, so consistent, my dog. Huero, you as well. And Ron, looking forward to hanging with you again this fall. So appreciate each and every one of you.
Yeah, guys, we're off until Sunday night. We're back on tomorrow afternoon, though. The radio show 98.1 FM, milehighsports.com. What's tomorrow, Chad? Would that be Dove Valley Deep Divers tomorrow night and Legend of Mile High in the morning, I believe? Yep. Did I get that correct? Okay, we have a lot of programming now, a lot of things to keep up in the air. So check those shows out. See y'all Sunday. Have a great weekend. Take care, and as always, go Broncos.